Blackfoot River Brewing's head brewer Brian Smith knows a lot about beer. He shared that knowledge Thursday evening at Exploration Works in a presentation called The Science and Culture of Beer. A capacity crowd of roughly 50 home brewers and beer aficionados, and some just there to enjoy the sample pony kegs of Steamboat and Oktoberfest, were given a glimpse back along nearly 5,000 years of beer making and imbibing history, and then given a grounding in the process of beer making and the many different varieties of beer. Smith and many other brewers disagree with the perception that beer caters to fairly straightforward tastes, while wine is prized for its many subtleties by those with more discerning palates. According to Smith, beer can be every bit as unique and flavorful as wine. It's up to the individual brewer and the choice of ingredients added in varying quantities at very particular times throughout the brewing process. At Blackfoot, Smith endeavors to keep the brewing process as close to that of traditional European breweries as possible. Brewing at Blackfoot consists of 7 different stages. In the first step, barley that has been malted is sent through a mill that gently and precisely cracks the grain's husk while leaving the hull intact. The grain is then fed into a large kettle where it is hydrated or turned into mash. Smith describes its consistency at this point as similar to oatmeal. Once a certain temperature is reached, the liquid part of the mash mixture is gravity-fed out of the bottom of the mash kettle into another kettle where it will boil. During the boiling process, hops are added. Blackfoot uses a pelletized type of the hops flour. Brewers use hops to add bitterness, flavor, and aroma to their beer. After boiling for a certain amount of time, the liquid in the kettle is whirlpooled to create a cone of solid hops particles in the center of the kettle. The liquid is then siphoned out and sent to a fermenting tank, where the yeast contained in the brew goes to work on the natural sugars also present. Yeast creates carbon dioxide, or CO2, during this process, which must be vented in order to prevent an explosion in the pressurized tank. Boiling and fermenting times vary depending on the type of beer being made. Once the fermentation process is complete, the beer is sent to conditioning tanks, where any remaining particles will filter out and the beer will clarify. Many breweries allow a small amount of the CO2 naturally produced during fermentation to stay in the tanks with the beer through the conditioning process, at the end of which the batch is tested to see if it is adequately carbonated. If it isn't, carbonation is injected, and then the batch is packaged into kegs, cans, or bottles, depending on the brewery. Blackfoot's typical production schedule is 3 batches per week. But in the new facility currently under construction next to the existing taproom on Park Avenue, Smith says production has the potential to increase by as much as 75%, or up to 7 batches per week. The new building features a much larger showroom-style brewhouse and a 2-level taproom where patrons can enjoy their pints while watching the brewing process through either the ground level or second-floor observation windows. Smith hopes to be finishing up construction on the new facility in April, and says the aspect of the new building he's most excited about is having the space and equipment to experiment and create new brews.